Hello guys, Vasily here, and today we're going to go through audience creation. That's right, Facebook audience creation. We're going to test a few different variations of how to set up an audience within Facebook Ads Manager and give you guys some tips and tricks on figuring out when to use what audience and what the best recommendation is when you're creating your Facebook campaign. And so we're going to start by actually editing a existing campaign. And so I'm just going to select the top one that I have currently. And we're actually going to duplicate an existing ad set that I've already created and then modify that ad set for a different audience. And so I'm going to hit duplicate, which gives you an idea of where you're going to duplicate your ad set. I'm going to click an existing campaign, which is this campaign, hit duplicate. Once we have this ad set created, I'm going to scroll down. So right now, just for context, this campaign is optimizing based on my pixel data for conversion. So it is a conversion campaign. And the conversion event that we're optimizing for is a lead event. And so this is for a campaign that obviously wants to get people to submit their information and convert them into a lead. I've set my daily budget, which right now is just set at 10. And now we get into audience creation. And so by default, if you're using broad audiences, Facebook Ads Manager is going to leave this custom audience section clear. So there's going to be no existing audiences selected within here. It's going to, by default, say that we want to target the entire United States and the age group 25 to 65 plus, all genders. And we've enabled detailed targeting expansion on the prior ad set. And so that duplicated over to this ad set. And that just allows Facebook's algorithm to target additional people that may be included or excluded from our demographics. And so this expansion actually helps get a little bit larger reach. So we'll start by giving the example to create a lookalike audience. And lookalike audiences are pretty effective if you already have data within your pixel. So you may have had people purchasing a product or submitting leads on your website. And now that the pixel has collected this data and you have enough data to optimize towards, you can actually create the lookalike audience straight in Facebook Ad Manager. So lookalike audiences, you come over to the right side here where it says create new, and it gives you two options. One is to create a custom audience, which we'll go through in a second. And the second one is a lookalike audience. And so we're going to select lookalike audience, and it's going to start to give us the audience creator window. And so here we can define which data source we want to use, which is our existing pixel. And it's asking for a purchase event, which is recommended. We don't sell products on my particular website. And so we're just going to leave this blank. But you can actually convert for other events as well. But for the sake of this, let's assume we sell products. And so we'll have the purchase audience here. It also allows us to dive into a specific region. And so for some campaigns, you may have purchases that occur in certain regions. And this allows you to further dissect and create audiences that may be people who purchase products within Australia or England. And so there's different ways that you can narrow this down. But for the sake of the exercise, we're going to leave it at the US. Now, our audience size. This is sort of the most important component to lookalike audiences. This gives us the opportunity to essentially create different levels of similarity to your source. And so in Facebook's auction, depending on what we select here is going to dictate how Facebook's auction is going to bid for that particular user. And so 1% is going to be an audience size that ranges, as it says, 1 to 10% of the combined population in your selected location. And so a 1% lookalike audience is going to be people who are most similar to people who purchase your product. Now, if you're looking for people who are in the most narrow or the most fine-tuned, high-intent audience, you're going to want it to use 1%. In some cases, certain businesses may warrant testing lookalike audiences that have a little bit wider reach. And so in that case, you can change your percentage of lookalike further up the scale, closer to 10%, in order to get a little bit broader reach, so you're not too narrow in your lookalike audience. But for the sake of this, we're going to hit create. And obviously it says the source is too small because I have not created any data that has people who purchased on this particular website. And so for this time, we obviously cannot create this audience. So I'm going to X out. But we're going to do a custom audience creation and show you another example of creating a lookalike audience that essentially retargets website visitors on your website. And this is the most common audience we usually see. And so your source will be your website. You hit next. It's going to ask, I have 2 pixels previously, so I'm going to select the active pixel. It's going to ask what event I'm targeting. And so here you'll see there's different opportunities to select different events on the website. We actually have, a type form submit because we've integrated with Typeform, which is a form submission software. And so we have those events that are being tracked in our pixel. We can also target just website visitors. We can target people who have visited particular pages. But for this time, we're just going to do a all website visitor remarketing campaign that's going to target people who have interacted within the last 30 days. So we'll name this a 30-day website visitor audience and hit create audience. And it'll even ask us if we wanted to create a lookalike. So actually, if we went further, we can create a lookalike audience of people who looked like our 30-day website visitors. And so it'll say 30-day website visitor audience as our lookalike. And I like to just put on here LAL for lookalike audience as source for the naming convention, but we're just going to leave it as is. And so here we have the option again to select how likely or how close to that lookalike do we want this audience to be. We're going to leave it at 1% and hit create audience. And so now we've got a lookalike and we have 30-day website visits as well mixed in here. The best recommendation to just target people who are visiting your website is to leverage a 30-day website visitor traffic and add an exclusion. And you can exclude people who also may have visited your Instagram profile or people who have already submitted leads. And so I've actually created using the same method of create new a audience of people who've already submitted leads. And so if we hit website again as our source, we have the option to actually create an audience that's tracking people who have submitted a lead on our website in the last 30 days. And so once that's created, you can then add that audience, which I've created down here, a 30-day leads list. This is all the people who have submitted a lead within the last 30 days, and we're going to actually exclude them from our advertising efforts. This is a really easy way, again, to create audiences to better target your campaigns. And there's so many different audience creation options. You can also create audiences, for example, that have interacted with your Facebook page, as well as your Instagram page. And so there's a ton of options here to set this up to go after people who have interacted with your website, your Instagram page, your Facebook page. Maybe they've watched a particular video. You can create lookalike audiences based on engagement. And so there's just a ton of options to, at minimum, create a campaign that is really, really efficient, because it's not targeting anybody but people who have already considered interacting with your business. Thanks for watching today, guys. This is obviously a very high level audience creation tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you guys on further videos. Don't forget to subscribe in the bottom right corner of the video, and we hope to see you in our next tutorial. Take care, guys.